Hi everyone. This is Nayeli Mel. Welcome to my YouTube channel. Um, I'm going to tell you guys the story about how I got diagnosed with acute intermittent porphyria. Um, First, in the beginning, well, it was 2013 when I got very sick. I was working out, and I remember I told my husband I have a back pain, and said I can't finish the Pilates class. So I excused myself from the class, and everybody asked me, "Are you okay?" And I said, "No, I don't think I'm okay." I started feeling nauseated, and I just felt so sick, like so sick. And I told my husband, I don't know what's wrong with me. I just feel really sick. We gotta go home. So he said, "Let me finish doing this. We got 10 minutes left." And I said, "Okay, I'll be waiting for you up in the lobby." And then we went home, and then from there I just started getting sick and more sick. I was throwing up. I was in pain. I had fevers. um I wasn't able to sleep because of the pain, my abdominal pain. It was horrible. I mean, and it was the longest nights of my life. It was like so bad in the beginning. I wasn't able to sleep at all. I remember that it was like 7 o'clock at night in the evening, and I was so tired and I just wanted to go to sleep, but I couldn't because of the pain. And then I would just sit in front of the TV and just try to watch TV to fall asleep, but I wasn't able to do it. And then after that, I would just sit there and just stare at the TV, like spacing out, and I wasn't able to do anything. I wasn't able to eat, to drink. I wasn't able to get up and do you know, my daily stuff because the abdominal pain was so bad and the fevers. And it wasn't getting any better. I went into the clinic. I scheduled an appointment with my doctor, and they did some ultrasounds. They did blood, you know, cultures. They did urine. They did pregnancy test. They did everything that they could possibly think of, and they said, no, there's nothing wrong with you. Just go home, and I'm pretty sure you have like a flu or a virus or something. It will go away eventually. Just drink Gatorade and water, and plenty of water. And I said, I can't drink water. I can't keep anything down. And they said, well, then just try to rest. Maybe your body's just tired. You work out too much. And I said, okay. So I went home and I said, maybe I do. Maybe I work out too much. And my body's just like dehydrated or something. But I was like, but why do I have pain? And it says, well, we don't know. Maybe, you pull a muscle or something. And I said, okay, it doesn't make any sense to me, but okay, if they say. So I went home, and it wouldn't get any better. It was just getting worse. Then fevers start kicking in. I mean, I start having fevers. And one night, and it was like, my husband would try to do the best he could to help me. And it was bad because I could see in his face that he was trying to help me and he couldn't. And it didn't get any better. It didn't get any better. And it didn't got any better. I would cry. It was like 3 in the morning and I was awake. My body was exhausted. I was exhausted. I was exhausted already just by just throwing up and not able to sleep, not able to walk, having pain 24/7. At this point, it was already, I think it was like 2.5 weeks. But it was like so bad. It was winter. It was like, you know, and I remember that I just got so sick that they thought it was, well, when I went into the clinic again, because I went for the second time, they said it was a kidney infection. They gave me some antibiotics, which made me worse. They made my condition worse. And I was like, oh, it's not getting any better. So they gave me some medication for me to take, and it was hard because the pain wouldn't go away. It was still there. They said you just have to take Tylenol. You just have to try to do your best. They give me something for the nausea. Um, they said just take Tylenol, ibuprofen. Just take as much as like as much as you can take, and that would help you. And I did. It wouldn't help. I took the nausea medication, and it wouldn't help because I wasn't able to keep anything down. And I said, well, if I wasn't able to keep anything down, it's hard for me to keep the Tylenol, the ibuprofen, and the nausea medication down. So I ended up going to the ER. My husband took me to the ER. They said there's nothing wrong with you. You do have a high fever. Maybe it's like an infection. Maybe it's gotta. So they did some tests. They said no, there's nothing wrong with you. Just go home and rest. Take plenty of fluids. And I said I can't take any fluids because I keep throwing up. And they said, well, there's nothing we can do for you. So you might, just go home. And if you get worse, just come back. I would cry because they wouldn't do anything in the pain. They gave me pain medication. It did help with my pain. And they would just I would just like, I would cry because they would say just go home and rest, and it would go away by itself. Whatever it is, it would go away by itself. Maybe it's a muscle that you pull. And I would cry and cry because I wasn't able to eat. Again, I wasn't able to drink, and I was just like, I was exhausted. My body was exhausted. I went back to the hospital a few days later because of the pain and the fevers that the fever wouldn't go down. And they left me there for about 3 days. I think it was 3 days. They brought, all these, the different doctors showed up. Then they brought somebody for me to talk to. I think it was like social worker that says, do you feel safe at your home? How's your husband with you? Is he nice to you? Do you have like marriage problems that you're going through? And I says, well, no, because everything is fine at home. It's just the pain is the one that and I haven't been able to keep anything down. And so they said, well, you can talk to me. You're safe here. And I said, well, I'm safe at home too. And so you can talk to us. If it's abuse that you want to get away and you think you can. I says, no, there's nothing that I want to get away from. My husband, it's nice. He's kind. He's trying to do the best to take care of me. So 3 days later, they said there's nothing wrong with you. It's all in your head. You just need to do something else, and they sent me home. And I wasn't able to eat. I wasn't able to drink. So they sent me home. I was at home for about 4 days. Then I went back into the ER because my fever was really high. And I was screaming because the pain, it's horrible. It's horrible. it was like somebody was just like, just gutting me from the inside. Like, it was like somebody lit a fire inside me, and I was in the, and I wasn't able to, like, just, it was hard. It's horrible. It's I couldn't put it, I couldn't do anything for myself. I felt hopeless. I felt like nobody was able to understand what I was going through, because I was the only one that was feeling the pain. And a lot of people would say, well, you're crazy, it's all in your head. And I would say, well, no, because I'm feeling pain and I know it's not in my head. And this guy came and talked to me, and he said, well, sometimes people make up these, they made up these things that they don't have. And maybe you need to talk, to somebody professionally. And I said, no, I'm not crazy. I have pain. And it's like, it's horrible. It's horrible. And I would explain to him, I says, have you ever been in a bonfire? And everybody, and then you get close to it, but as the closest you get, the more you feel the burn. And even if you're not that close, but you feel like your skin is getting toasty. And he said, yeah. I says, well, I feel like that, but just imagine 3 times worse that. And I said, that's how I feel in my abdomen. And he said, well, they don't find anything. You don't have any blood infections. You don't have any. You're not pregnant. You're healthy. You don't have any kidney infections. Nothing. No kidney stones. Nothing. And I said, well, I do have something. I spent about 10 days at the hospital. At one point, my husband said, well, we would like to have a referral. The doctor wouldn't give us a referral to Regina Mason in Seattle. And my husband got really upset, because he says, I'm just watching her and she's just suffering, and you guys can't do anything. You guys can diagnose. You guys just can't. You're not doing any. You're not doing anything for her. So I just cried. The next day, they had like a conversation. The supervisor arrived, and she said, we got the best. We're the best, and we can give you a referral. And my husband said, okay, so that's fine. So the next day, there was this doctor showed up. She's tiny doctor, and she came into my room. It was like 9 o'clock in the morning, and I was just laying there, and my pain and the fever, and I wasn't able to drink anything, so they had me on IV fluids and IV medication, because I wasn't able to take anything orally. And she looked at me in the eye, and she said, you know what, Nayeli, it's all in your head. It says, you're just a druggie, and you just want the drugs. And I remember I just started crying, because I was trying to explain to her, she's like, you've been in here, you've been in the ER 10 times already, you've been in and out. And I said, well, you can check my record. I said, this isn't the last, this is the very first time that I've been into an ER 10 times, because you can even check in my record with my regular doctor, with my physician. I have never been in there for asking for medication, nothing. And this is, I used to work out a lot. I used to do a lot of things. I would go to the gym twice, sometimes 3 times a day. And she said, you just have a problem. You need some help. You need some psychological help. And your pain, it's all in your head. You need to forget about that pain. That pain does not exist. And she said, and we're going to have to ask you to leave because somebody else really does need the bed more than you. And I remember, I told her, I says, but I have a fever and I'm vomiting and I can't keep anything down. And she said, well, it's all in your head. So you're going to have to figure it out, how to get rid of it, because there's nothing wrong with you. That was like, and she told me that I had 10 minutes to leave the hospital, or else she was going to have me, removed from the hospital. And I remember that I cried because it was so hard for me to hear that from a doctor that I trusted, I guess, or that I wanted her or him, or them to help me. And it was kind of hard because I know I wasn't crazy. I knew that it wasn't in my head. I knew that the pain was real. But at the same time, I was like doubting myself. I was like, could it be that I'm crazy since they can't find anything wrong with me? And I don't know, I was just like, maybe I am crazy. And I remember that I went home and I just cried and cried because I had the pain. My body was exhausted. I wasn't able to eat. I wasn't able to drink. I wasn't able to do anything. I wasn't able to be myself. It was like it was somebody else, but I was in that person's body. Because I was, for me, I was healthy. I was normal. When, this is the first part of the story because there's even more of my story. And it's normal for people to go through this. It's normal. I'm not the first one that has been kicked out and been accused of being crazy. I'm not the first one. People that have porphyria, acute intermittent porphyria, go through the same thing, go through the same story that I'm telling you guys about. And it's hard because you even doubt yourself. But I knew that I wasn't crazy. I knew I wasn't crazy. I knew that something was wrong with me. And I knew that sooner or later they were gonna find out. But it's a struggle. It's a struggle. And this is just part of it because there's a lot more. And I will tell you guys about the rest because it's been 5 years. So it is a long, long, long journey that we've been through. But I think that it has made me realize that you think that and you think that you go, well, you see people in my situation. I wouldn't say that I ever thought of that, but sometimes you see people and you don't know what they're going through. You don't know what's their problem, or how they feel. And sometimes you see them and you judge them, you judge people because of the way that they are, or the way that they look, you know. And that happened to me a lot when when I got out of the hospital. I'm talking about the second part of my journey. When I got out of the hospital, I had a PICC line hanging out of my arm, and I had a port, and I had the catheters just hanging out. And I remember I was in a grocery store, and this lady was like in front of me, and she was gonna pay for her groceries, and she had her little girl, and her little girl asked her, "Mom, what is that she's got?" And I remember that her mom, the first reaction that her mom had is like, "Oh, honey, whatever she got, I'm pretty sure it's contagion." And I just like, wow, you know, it shocked me, because you would never think that somebody would say that to like a 5-year-old or a 6-year-old. And so she didn't even pay her groceries there. She just got like a hand sanitizer, and she started wiping her hands, and like if I touch her, if I, and I did cry, I did. And it was hard for me, because then I say, I'm not the only one. I'm not the only one. And it's hard because it's not simple. It's not because you can't explain to them what you got, because some people do not understand. They won't listen to you. They won't care what you have to say. They don't care, because all they have in their mind is whatever she's got, I'm gonna get it. I'm gonna, am I gonna be sick, or I'm gonna get sick, my child's gonna get sick. Well, you don't get this just by talking to somebody or shaking their hand or giving them a hug. You don't. This is 90% of the time is genetic. 90% of the time. Nobody in my family has it so far that we know of, but me. But this is a little bit of my 5-year journey. And it's hard. I get a little bit emotional, but it's normal, because it's, you live through a lot. You learn to appreciate life more than what you used to. You look at life differently. You don't look at life the same, and you're in pain 24/7. Your pain never goes away. It's a pain that is there. It's a pain that it's just constantly there. I can't work out like I used to. I can't do a lot of things that I was used to do. I just can't do it. Half of the times I'm exhausted. I feel sick. I have pain. Sometimes I don't even want to get up out of bed, but I have to, because of doing that for myself. I'm fighting against my blood disorder because of the pain. It's painful, and I'm fighting against my pain, and getting up and moving and getting things done around the house takes my mind off from my pain, and that's what helps me. to forget about my pain, and I have it, but I'm not just sitting down or laying down thinking about it. I can feel my pain, but I'm not like feeling sorry for myself. And it's a little bit about my story, but I will tell you guys the other half of the story. So I hope you guys understand when you see someone be walking on the streets with, you know, with the PICC line on, or a port access or a catheter sticking out of their chest. I hope you guys understand that it's not because they want to, carry around. It's because they have to. We have to. And it's to keep ourselves practically going, and whatever we're getting through there, it's making us, medication, whether it's, IV fluids, that's there for a reason. It's not for people to say, oh, well, look at her, you know, it's inappropriate for you to have something sticking out of your chest or your arm. We don't have other option. It has to be there, and it's exposed because you can't hide it. You can't, you just can't do it. So I hope everybody understands that people, they go through this kind of health challenges. They want to be healthy. We want to be normal, but we can't. We tried our best, and that's all we can do. So I hope you guys enjoy a little bit of piece of my journey, this story, and give it thumbs up for it, and don't forget to subscribe, and have a good day, and I hope everybody's having an amazing week. So give it thumbs up, and don't forget to subscribe. Thank you guys.